Hey, and welcome back today. Today I am speaking with Maria McMahon. She has a bachelor's of psychology. She is neuro-linguistic program practitioner and a hypnotherapist. She specializes in helping people to recover quickly from the fallout of narcissistic abuse. And today she's going to talk to us on how to rapidly heal from narcissistic abuse. I'm so excited to talk to her. Let's welcome her. Hi, Maria, and welcome.
Hello, Karrie. Welcome to you too, and thank you so much for inviting me to have a chat with you today. I'm very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so honored.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are today.
Well, basically, I am an NLP hypnotherapist, and I work now with people exclusively to help them recovering from narcissistic abuse. I was trained initially in NLP and hypnotherapy. In 1996, I qualified in the UK, and then I ran a clinic in Covent Garden in London for a couple of years. Then I went traveling internationally, and for a long time I couldn't do that type of work because it wasn't possible to do it in the countries I was in. And then 7 years ago, I decided I'd finished all my contract work and left the recruitment industry that I was in, and I decided I really wanted to get back into working with helping people with therapy and coaching. So I kind of did some refresher training, and I then, after about 2 years of doing sort of online self-worth stuff and, you know, empowering women stuff, I accidentally got into narcissistic abuse. 2 clients approached me literally one after the other, and I just became completely fascinated with it. Not that it's a nice subject, it's not, but it's a fascinating psychology. And so I dove into it and really learned everything I could about it. And so I decided to start specializing in that. And I've been doing that for probably 4 years or so now. So I run 3 Facebook support groups, one for men, one for women, one for men and women who are dealing with parental alienation. I also wrote a book called The Top 50 Red Flags of Romantic Predators, because there didn't seem to be a book that actually said, these are the red flags, this is what you need to know. Even though there's a lot of good books out there, there wasn't one that kind of said what I thought people needed to know. So I wrote it. That published about 2 years ago. And right now I'm working on my healing book, which is Narcissistic Abuse Healing, How to Heal in Weeks, Not Years. Because it's been my experience working with clients the way I do and using NLP that you actually can effect very, very powerful healing in a matter of weeks, not years. You do not need to spend 60 sessions of whatever type of therapy. And I don't mean any disrespect to any other therapist out there or any other type of therapy, but I know from people who've come to me that they've tried this and they've tried that and they've tried the other, and it just hasn't had the effect they've needed. So when we get into NLP and explaining to people how the body stores the trauma, how the mind stores the trauma, you can change that very quickly. So I'm putting as much as I can to help people in my book, which I want to keep really simple and straightforward, because a lot of the books out there, and there are many, many good ones, can be very complicated. And I've had people say this to me, oh, I read such and such a book and it was good, but I still didn't feel any better at the end of it. So I'm trying to make a book that I'm going to give people practical tools to really help them to heal.
Love it.
That's what I'm up to at the moment.
So let's explain to our viewers what NLP is and how you got into it and how you use it to help people.
NLP stands for neuro-linguistic programming, and it's basically about how your mind processes information and language and thought. And I got into it because I had learned hypnosis. I became really interested in hypnosis and hypnotherapy in my early 30s. And I did a basic course that taught me how to do basic hypnotherapy inductions and how to help people like stop smoking and lose weight. But I very quickly realized that I was very, very limited with what I'd learned. So I was looking into all different types of therapy, and NLP had just kind of hit the UK at that point, and I happened to come across a brilliant teacher. I absolutely loved everything he had to say. So I ended up signing up and doing a year's diploma in NLP. And this was in London, and we did all our training in the hospitals in London, and because it was recognised for funding by the NHS in the UK, we had lots of like psychiatrists and psychologists all attending, and they're like all dropping out like flies, because they're saying, one guy I sat talking to, and he said, how can this be possible that that guy can get rid of that phobia or that trauma in one session? And I've spent 7 years studying psychoanalysis. He just couldn't make it. Cognitive dissonance hit him big time, and he left. Lots of them were leaving because they couldn't believe it, and yet this was happening. And then we learned how to do it, and even today, now 30 odd years later, I still find it's the best form of therapy out there for getting people rapid results and lasting results. Because I always do a follow-up with clients. Whenever I do sessions, I will do a follow-up, because I want to check in and say, right, let's think about that original problem that you came to me with, and I want you to really think about it. And they prove to them that they haven't relapsed. They haven't gone back to, oh, it's lasted one night and I felt great the next day, but then it all came back. If you treat the trauma properly, it doesn't come back, because you basically recoded your brain. It's amazing. It's fascinating. I love it.
I will have to say, my first breakthrough, my presenting symptom was, no matter what I do, I can't lose weight.
Right.
And broke it down into, I'm overeating at every meal because I'm filling the void inside with food to self-soothe, and because of the trauma. And releasing all of that baggage with that trauma from that breakthrough session, I have to say, I haven't gained any weight back. We're going on 3 years now.
Yeah, brilliant.
And I had such great results with it. I had to become certified in it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
So
we're speaking from the same hymn sheet.
Yeah. So it's been amazing. So I love that you're using it and that we get to talk and share with our audience how great NLP is.
Oh, absolutely.
To quickly heal all of those limiting beliefs.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely. I use NLP a lot, but I also use inner child healing, because I think there are so many of us walking around with a wounded inner child, especially if the person has come from a dysfunctional or abusive family or had narcissistic parents. And this is very common with people who then get involved with narcissists later on in their lives, because the programming is all there, and they are programmed to accept dysfunctional relationships. A lot of them don't even realize that it is dysfunctional until there's been so much damage done, So it's always ground I like to explore with people, is to do some inner child healing as well. And bring a spiritual aspect if the person is conducive to that, connecting to your higher power, because I think that's something that's really, really powerful as well. And I use that with most of the people I work with. So it's quite a nice mix. Yeah.
Love it. So what are some of the biggest problems, or the number one problem you see a lot with your clients that they come to you with to heal from the abuse?
I think probably lack of self-worth and confidence. That their confidence has been so destroyed by systematic abuse, they've kind of lost themselves. And that's also a core component I always address when I'm working with people, because when you're trained in hypnotherapy, we call it, reinforcing the ego state, not as in being egotistical, but just that sense of self. So that's something that's really important to work with. Anxiety, a lot of anxiety, even, panic attacks. Depression is quite common, because who wouldn't be depressed when they've been involved with a narcissist? Trauma bonding, very common as well, because that they create this powerful magnetic pull, even though they're abusive. They've done this damage right in the beginning when they create that powerful bond with you. That's another one. I think those are the ones that come up the most. And people just want to, rumination is another one. People just want to, they cannot stop thinking about it, going over and over and over, and they want it to stop. So I think those are really the sort of most common ones that I deal with.
Okay. Yeah. What would you say was somebody with PTSD from the trauma? How would you help them?
An awful lot of people, glad you said it, have PTSD or complex PTSD. But that can be any of those things I've just mentioned. It usually is any one or a bunch of those types of symptoms, flashbacks, anxiety, panic attacks, all of that. What I would say, it really depends on how we break it down and what's going on for them. So I try to start with whatever's top of mind for them, like, for example, if they're having a constant flashback, that's very easy to change, as you will probably know with NLP. So when I work with people, what I normally do is have like a free, I say 30 minutes, but it's usually 45 minutes, and do a real deep dive with them on what's going on for them. And based on that, I then know exactly how I can help them. And then they will, they'll come and work with me. But I think what people need to realize about PTSD is, again, it's not a life sentence. Everything that's going on for you, for anyone watching who's suffering with any of these symptoms, the truth of the matter is it's all in your head now. And by that, I don't mean that, it's just all in your head, you're making it all up. I don't mean that at all, because I know that trauma people have been through. I know it's very, very real, and it's very, very painful. But it is all in your head, because the past is gone, the future hasn't happened, so everything is just all what's going on in your head. So when you can change that, you can take control. What happens with the narcissistic abuse, especially if you've been a long time with someone, is that you allow unwittingly your thoughts to completely control you. So the minute you wake up in the morning, you've got a couple of seconds while you're coming out of the dream state, and then you realize, it's morning, I'm in bed, and then boom, the thoughts start. And it's flying across your mind so fast, and that sets the whole tone for your day. And one of the things, I do talk about this in my book, but I will share it right now because it's so simple and it's so powerful, is what I call the stop technique. And it's really, really easy. So the minute when you wake up in the morning and the minute you realize what you're thinking, you sit up quickly in bed and you go, stop, like this. Now, when you do that, you're jarring your brain. So you're like, stop. I'm done. I'm not thinking like this anymore. I'm done with this line of thinking. I choose to think something different. And then you reach for a thought that feels better. And that is so simple. And it's so powerful, because and then what you do is throughout the day, every time you find yourself going back to the old thoughts, you do it again. Hands up, stop. I'm not going to do this anymore. So I encourage anyone who's watching to do it, because
Yes.
It's a pattern interrupt.
Yes.
Interrupts your brain, and it also makes you realize, holy moly, how much time I'm spending thinking these same thoughts over and over and again. So it's a way to help you start getting awareness and making a decision. I can choose to think differently. I don't have to go down this road every single day. Now, that isn't going to bring complete, total healing, but it's a start. And in my book, I'm going to be covering lots of things that are ways to help you to get started on the healing. Instead of thinking, this is it, this is my life, I'm never going to be happy. These are tips I want to give people that's going to help you to think, actually, yes, I can heal. This doesn't have to be a life sentence. Yeah.
I love it.
Did that answer your question? Because we were talking about PTSD, weren't we?
Yeah, but you did. No, you did, because
okay.
Having those pattern interrupts to stop it before it starts to spiral.
Yeah, exactly.
Is great. I love that.
It's so simple.
It is. And a lot of people don't realize that it's the thoughts that lead up to the trigger to the anxiety,
of course,
the
depression. Because you have a thought, and then that creates a feeling, and then the feeling makes you feel bad. And if it's an anxiety attack, you're reliving the trauma, and that's creating the panic in your body, because your body doesn't know, hey, that happened 6 years or 6 months or however long ago. Your body is, because your subconscious is permanently in the here and now, it doesn't have any idea of time. So your body is reacting as if the threat is happening now, because you're playing that same old movie over and over and over. So it's reacting. Yeah, right, panic again. But you can break that as well in one session.
Love it. So explain to our viewers what releasing the negative emotions does to help them heal?
Again, this is another way of releasing trauma that's surprisingly simple, but your body stores negative energy. And if anyone's read Bessel van der Kolk's book, The Body Keeps the Score, I recommend people to read that to really dig into the science of it. But your body does. So it's like if I say to you now, right now you're quite happy, you're sitting there quite relaxed, we're having a chat. If I say to you, think about something really sad. Yeah. Straight away, you get a feeling. Where in your body do you get the feeling? You see, straight away, I can see the emotion in your eyes. You've manufactured that. You've brought that up. Now, you don't need to keep that. So I'm hoping it's nothing too serious. Tell me it's nothing too serious. It's just something sad.
Well, I probably shouldn't have thought of, on a scale of 1 to 10, something a 9. Yeah. So
yeah, but you're still holding on to that. Okay. So what I would do normally is I would talk you through a process of how to release that energy. And I would say, okay, you've just said it's a 9. We would go through the process, and then we would look around and we would think of pink tigers, breaking state. And then I would ask you to tune into it again and think about it again and tell me how it feels now and how you rate it. 9 times out of 10, I'll get it down to at least a 3, if not completely eliminate it. And it's just about knowing how to tune into that energy, give it shape, give it form, give it color, and then release it.
Love it.
And I'm sharing how to do that in my book, which I will be letting you have a copy of, so you can try it and see how it works.
Yes. See, just being able to show them too how quickly a state can change.
Oh, absolutely.
Because of a thought. I literally 2 seconds and I was almost in tears.
Yeah, I could see it because I could see it in your eye, and I could see you flushed and you put your hand there. And what I should have done to you, which I apologize, I'm not. What I should have done was said, okay, now think about something that makes you really, really happy, something that fills you with joy. Think about something now. Yeah, you see.
Yeah. So now happy tears.
Okay.
Yes.
But that's how quickly you can change your emotional state.
And people going through the trauma don't understand that. And that's what they need to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's that
absolutely.
Change your thoughts, change your state.
Yeah. Yeah.
Change
and get rid of that energy.
Yes.
And I've had grown men crying doing this exercise with me. And they're like, wow, that's just unbelievable.
It's amazing.
Energy, everything is energy. We're made up of energy. Everything is energy, and we just store it. And some people are carrying so much heavy trauma. When I ask them to describe it, they'll tell me it's heavy. It's like a lump of lead. It's black. It's, do you really want to be carrying that around all this time? But then I also explain why it's there. When you have sadness and that sad energy in your body, it's there for a reason. And the reason is that it's trying to get your attention. It's trying to tell you, hey, something's wrong here. Something's way out of kilter. We need to do something about this. So then you acknowledge it and you thank it and you tell it, great, thank you for the job you've done for me. You've done an amazing job. But now I don't need you to do that job anymore because I know where I'm at. So how about we let you go, let you off into the galaxy, go and do something somewhere else. Simple. And it's very metaphysical language, but your subconscious resonates very much with metaphors and with fantasy. That's its language.
Yes.
You think of dreams. Dreams are often metaphoric in nature. So it works really, really well. So people need to know it's very, very possible to get rid of negative energy and just completely change how you feel. Completely. Panic attacks, trauma bonding, all of it.
People have that preconceived notion that it has to take years. It has to take a year to get over a trauma bond. It has to take a year to get over the PTSD or however long. And it really doesn't.
Really doesn't. And that is why I've called my book, hang on, I think, because my book isn't finished yet, so it's not published, but hang on. I've got my tablet here that's now playing up. Oh yeah. I don't know why it's showing me the thing across the bottom, but you can see that. Whoops, hold on.
There you go. Love it.
Right. The No BS Guide to Healing in Weeks, not years. Not years, because it doesn't take years. I've worked I worked with one lady who'd been seeing a therapist on and off for 20 years for various things, but she then got married to a narcissist and he discarded her. He was a drug addict. She was having a nightmare of a time. She was seeing a trauma specialist for months and months before she finally joined my group and got to know me and reached out to me. And she said, I'm still really, really struggling. And she'd had so much therapy and it hadn't helped. So I worked with her, and within a few weeks, we completely broke the trauma bond. She had a history of abuse and alcoholic parents and all sorts as well, but we'd plowed through all of it. And then I worked with another woman who'd been seeing a therapist for 7 months. And she said, it's just not, she was so bad with panic attacks, she had to stop working and wasn't able to work for a year to go out. She was working from home. She was a journalist. And she contacted me and she said, I finally had got the courage. She'd had to deal with a female narcissist at work. She said she'd left work and couldn't go back for a year. She finally, a year later, got offered another job that was really too good to refuse. And she thought, well, I'm going to try it. By this point, she was still waking up in the night with insomnia, with panic attacks. She was waking up in the morning with sweaty palms, just anxiety off the chart. She went to this new job and literally within 2 weeks, she realized she was dealing with another narcissist.
Oh, wow.
I know. And at that point, she reached out to me and she said, I cannot go through this again. I have got to. And I saw your site and I thought, you can help me. So I did. In one session, we completely eradicated the panic attacks. Gone. And I'm still in touch with her now. And she was one of my first clients. That's 4 years ago. She's absolutely fine. Back at work, everything's great. So it's very, very powerful. And I think it's important for people to know that it can happen just that quickly. It does not have to take, as I said, 60 sessions of EMDR or psychoanalysis or psychotherapy or whatever. It doesn't. It's a fallacy.
Right. The importance of how we speak and the words that we use, our unconscious is always listening.
Absolutely. There's a meme, I think, I'm not sure if I made it, I've made so many memes, but be careful what you say because your self is listening. I think it is something along those lines. Self-talk, absolutely hugely important, absolutely hugely important, because most of us spend most of our time beating ourselves up. And when you've been systematically abused by a narcissist, you've been belittled and demeaned and told you're a worthless piece of whatever and never said anything nice, you end up kind of buying into that and sort of saying it to yourself, well, yeah, I'm not, so you're beating yourself up as well. So you have to unlearn all that. And this is all about stepping into your power and taking your power back. Because one of the other things that I talk about in my book that's really important is that people need to know that the power to heal is in you. It comes from you. Yes, a therapist can help you to facilitate it and can help you, but ultimately that power to heal is in you. And when you can tap into that inner reserves and resources that you have, you can become an absolute warrior to heal yourself. And that's really, really empowering for people as well when they realize that hey, I am a person of value. I do deserve to be happy. I do deserve to be loved. I don't need to buy into all that BS that I've been fed for the last however long, And that is really powerful for people. Yes. So I always say to people, first of all, it's very courageous to reach out and seek help, but it's also you need to recognize what a strong person you are. If you've gotten through a relationship with a narcissist, you are a very, very strong person, because it takes an incredible amount of strength to stay in a relationship with someone like that.
It really does. And the resilience that these women go through that they don't give themselves credit for, especially those of us who stay far too long.
Yeah, that's true. And that's another thing, is to just get rid of the guilt and the shame, because a lot of people carry so much guilt and toxic shame and all of that. And they don't realize it's not their fault. So it's like you need to get the blinkers lifted off so you can start seeing things clearly. And it's so liberating for people when that happens, you know.
Yes. So amazing.
Yeah.
Speaking from experience.
Yeah, I know you've done amazingly well.
Oh,
Amazingly well.
thank you so much. Maria, that was such great information. Can you share about your free offer for our viewers?
Right, what I want to give your viewers is a copy of my book that we've been talking about. Now, it's not ready at the moment. I'm currently in the process of going through some work with my editor, making some changes. It's going to be better. But if I have a link, if people sign up for that, then as soon as it's ready to go to publish, I will be sending everyone who's watching a free copy, even before it goes to publish.
Oh, how amazing. Thank you.
Very, very, very welcome.
Oh, wow.
It will help lots of people.
Yes. So how can our viewers get connect with you? How can they get in touch with you?
What's going to be the easiest way? I'm in Facebook for people who are in Facebook. My website is narcissisticabuse-healing.com. I don't know how you're going to work with the link for people to get that link to get the book. I'm not quite sure how the best way to do that is.
So these are being released in YouTube, so I'll put everything in the description, plus it will be in the emails that they receive.
Oh, okay, excellent. So you will have a link for the viewers to just directly go to that. But otherwise, people can find me, as I said, on my Facebook. It's Maria McMahon, and there's my Facebook groups, or there's my website, and I have a YouTube channel as well. I've got over 100 videos on my YouTube channel. So
love it.
Yeah.
Do you have any final thoughts for our viewers?
My final thoughts would be probably what we started with, is that it doesn't take years to heal, and that you absolutely must not think it's a life sentence. Just if you're feeling absolutely down in the dumps and depressed and fed up and feel like your life is over, it's not. It doesn't need to be. You've got to start telling yourself that and talking to yourself differently. Like right now, just say, you know, I'm going to heal. I'm going to heal, and you're going to do whatever it takes to heal, because you absolutely can. Happens all the time. People are healing every day. So
love it.
That would be my words of wisdom.
Love it. Thank you so much for your time today, Maria. This was an amazing talk. I loved every second of it.
Okay.
Have a great day. Keep in touch.
And you too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.